Hello, in this tip, I'd like to go over how to tell when a command won't work with the PowerShell pipeline, or if you'd like, when it will work. So if you're not familiar with the PowerShell pipeline and how it works with commands, inputs, and outputs, not every command will actually work. So it won't bind the appropriate properties or the appropriate objects between an outputting command and an input of another command. So let me show you the example of how you can tell if a command does support pipeline input. To do that, we have to use the get help command. And in this instance, I'm using get help on the start service command. And you also have to use the -full parameter, which is a switch parameter, to see all of the different parameters that that command has. So now I can scroll down through here, and there's a section here that has all of the different parameters. Because I don't feel like scrolling forever, I'm just going to show you the parameters that I want to talk about. So the first one is the display name parameter. So the start service command has a display name parameter that allows you to specify whatever the display name is you want to start. However, if you look down through each of those properties of the parameter, you see that it has accept pipeline input, and that is currently false. That's a clear indication that it does not accept pipeline input. That's the clear indication. That's the only indication right there that you can see that it does not accept pipeline input. And you'll see this attribute on not only built-in commandlets that I'm using here, but also advanced functions as well. So I'll show you another example here on start service. Start service has an input object parameter as well. In this case, now you can see that accept pipeline input is true, but it says by value. By value means that it accepts pipeline input by the entire object. There's all kinds of different content around the pipeline and how it works with binding. I'm actually going to demonstrate how this works in another snip. For now, you could just know that whenever the pipeline works by parameter binding, so it can bind to either by value or by a property name. By value means the entire object. So notice that the object here is service controller, and we have parameter binding works by if the start service command sees a service controller object coming into it, it's going to automatically try to bind to this by value. So that's the way you can tell that it binds by value. The next here is you can see the name parameter binds by property name and by value. That means that if the start service command sees input coming in from the pipeline with an object with a name property, that means that it will bind. As well, it will also try to bind with a string. So to demonstrate what that looks like is, let's say that I have a service name of WUAU, I believe that's right, SERV. And I can pipe this to start service, and it actually works just fine because it bound to that name parameter. WUAU SERV was just a string. Let me show you first what this looks like with getMember, just to show you that it is a string. Whenever I use getMember, see that's a system.string there. So let's also pipe the output of getService to it. So let's say that I'm using getService, WUAU SERV, and I'll pipe this to getMember as well. Now you'll see that this is the service controller object, the kind of type that the input object parameter wants to see. So now when I can pipe this to start service, now that it works just fine as well, because that time it bound the entire object that getService returns. So it bound all that object there with all those properties based on value. Otherwise, we could have used the string. We don't have a server control object, we just have a simple string, and that actually bound on the name parameter. So all about seeing that accept pipeline input in the help to tell whether or not a command will work with the PowerShell pipeline or not. So that has been how to tell when a command won't work with the PowerShell pipeline. Thanks for watching.